At the risk of sounding jingoistic, wasn't that fabulous? Especially singing of Biladi, Biladi, all those lovely children. Now, would you please welcome His Excellency Ambassador Amr Abul Ata, the permanent representative of Egypt to the United Nations.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me at the outset to extend to all our esteemed guests a very warm welcome. We are honored to have you with us at this event celebrating the many aspects of Egypt's rich cultural heritage. We gather here this evening in the Temple of Dandur at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, a gift from the government of Egypt to the United States of America. This temple, while physically now very far away from Egypt, cannot be closer in spirit to the magnificence of Egyptian culture. It bears strong testimony to the genius of our ancestors and the accomplishment they were capable of. As we reflect on this glorious past, the evidence of which surround us this evening, we also look ahead to the future of Egypt. Given Egypt's numerous accomplishments over the past year, this is a future I am fully confident will be no less bright, bringing prosperity to the people of Egypt. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great honor to introduce to you His Excellency Mr. Sameh Shoukry, the Foreign Minister of Egypt.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for, the speech. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you tonight on the occasion of Egypt's candidature for a non-permanent seat on the Security Council. I am delighted that you are with us tonight, friends and colleagues, who have been bound by our mutual recognition of the importance of multilateralism in an ever-shrinking global community of nations. A privileged club that I am honored to have been a member of and whose members engage daily and for countless hours, as your spouses know very well, to build understanding and fulfill our mutual interests, while doing so have been forging strong ties of friendship and mutual respect. It is no coincidence, therefore, that we gather to celebrate Egypt's candidature for the Security Council at this marvelous venue, which embodies a symbolic message, as valuable as it is impressive architecture. Written on these walls of the Dandur Temple is the ancient proverb that peace is the fruit of activity and not sleep, a message that resonates as strongly today as it did when those words were engraved more than 2,000 years ago. The temple is a living testament not only of Egypt's rich history, but also to the value of multilateral work through one of the UN's important specialized agencies, the UNESCO, as well as bilateral cooperation for the collective good. The Dandur Temple is unique in that it symbolizes different periods, not only of Egyptian history, but of the evolution of human civilization as a whole. It stands as a record showing how each civilization built on the achievements of its predecessors. The ancient Egyptians who built this temple also signed the first ever peace treaty in history with the Houthiyyin around 1,259 years BC that laid the foundations of conflict settlement. It is Egypt's unique experience as a melting pot of various civilizations that guides our firm belief that multilateralism is the only path for a joint future. We have thus embraced and advocate for an enabling multilateralism, one that is conducive to the meaningful participation of all member states in the work of our United Nations, a concept that you, as permanent representatives of the entire membership, coined at the Alamein retreat this summer during August on the north coast of the Mediterranean Sea. While our surroundings tonight are reflections of the past, all our thoughts and hopes are focused on the future. It is important to remember the efforts of the generation that founded our organization and its hope to see the United Nations as a key tool with the power to help future generations avoid the painful experiences of the early 20th century. Thanks to their vision, we can stand today and say that the United Nations has changed the lives of billions of people around the world. We intend to preserve this dream, continue our work throughout the organization, and grasp the opportunity of our potential membership in the Security Council representing the African continent to further advance the ideals the United Nations was built upon. Yet we realize that much more needs to be done. The increasing number of conflicts and challenges in our world today are felt daily, whether in terms of terrorism, refugees, displaced persons, or other forms of loss of basic rights. There has been widespread looting, trafficking, and destruction of antiquities by terrorist groups in many parts of the world, especially Syria and other parts of the Middle East. The Middle East is unique in being the archaeological treasure house of overlapping civilizations, with a rich array of sites and monuments ranging from prehistoric to modern Islamic times. The Temple of Bel in Palermo had stood for thousands of years before it was in the past weeks dynamited by ISIS. These terrorists are intimidated by history because history delegitimizes them, so they have waged a ferocious war on culture. This reality reminds us that we must do a better job. There must be a more focused international effort to stand in the face of terrorism in all its forms while advancing development. The concept of enabling multilateralism will be an important guide to ensure the Charter of the United Nations, its purposes and principles are preserved as they remain valid today, as they were 7 decades ago. But it will also allow us to reflect the needs of peoples around the world and revive the partnership between populations and the 3 pillars of the United Nations, namely international peace and security, development, and human rights. It will also increase our ability to address historic and recurring grievances. It is through our commitment to such principles that the next generation can stand where we are today, remember our words, and share our celebration of the United Nations as a turning point in history. Just as much as the Security Council is a principal organ of the United Nations, it should be a primary vehicle for this enabling multilateralism. It would only succeed in doing so if its members together can enrich its deliberations by the genuine perspectives of the entire membership. I invite you to appreciate the wonders of Egypt, enjoy its classical music, and explore its monuments and artifacts surrounding you. While entirely Egyptian in their character, they are truly global in their impact. Tonight's gathering is above all an invitation to join a call for peace and friendship. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere and personal appreciation to Mr. Hisham Al-Arab, Chairman of the Commercial International Bank in Egypt, for sponsoring this event. We are happy that he is able to join us tonight and recognize the many efforts exerted by the bank in implementing its social corporate responsibility in support of the Egyptian people's aspirations for a better future. Thank you again for being with us today. We are delighted to have you and honored, and we wish you all success. Thank you.
To put it mildly, our next speaker truly does not need an introduction, but he's going to get one. The peripatetic and splendid Dr. Zahi Hawass, who has, with the considerable help of one of the greatest patrimonies in the world, made countless friends for Egyptian antiquity via television. Zahi Hawass received his PhD from the University of Pennsylvania, where he was a Fulbright scholar. He has excavated all over Egypt and has been instrumental in preserving Egypt's precious heritage. Thank you, Dr. Hawass. You may remember that in 2006, Dr. Hawass was voted one of the 100 great people of the world by Time magazine, and he has just published a splendid book that I think many of us would dearly love to own. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have to thank Minister Sameh Shukri for inviting me tonight. But I have to tell you, whatever I go to any place in the world, the curse of the pharaohs sits either on me or in the people that I'm lecturing. But I have to tell you, it did sit on me tonight. I took the wrong bag at the airport, a bag of a lady, and I had to go downstairs to look for a shirt and a tie. And I'm glad that you're not going to have the curse. Tonight, I will give you a quick talk. I'm not giving a lecture because they give me only 20 minutes. But what's happening? Okay, we are here, as everyone talked. This temple came here in 1965 because the United States paid $50 million to save the temples of Abu Simbel. It came in 76. Big fight happened between Boston, Washington, D.C., and the Metropolitan Museum. And the Met did win to bring this temple that dated to the Roman period from the area of Abu Simbel to be in the heart of New York. King Tut. Actually, we had in the news that everyone is talking about this theory of necklace reefs. There is a tomb behind the north and the west wall of the tomb. He depended on reading the 3D that made for this tomb a replica, and he thinks that behind is a tomb of Nefertiti. We got lots of publicity from this, but I have to tell you, the theory is completely wrong. There is no 1%, because Nefertiti will never be buried in the Valley of the Kings because she worshipped Aton, and the priestess of Ammon will never let her to be buried in the Valley of the Kings. But Egypt got lots of publicity from this, and Nefertiti is still the magical queen of Egypt. The magic of the pyramid. We tried to use radar to find out what's inside the pyramid. The pyramid had 3 rooms. We tried to investigate this kind of small shaft in the pyramid with robot. And we thought of the Queen Chamber to use this German robot. We sent the robot inside the northern tunnel, and actually it stopped after 60 feet because the tunnel was bending. It went in the north, in the south tunnel. It was stopped in front of a door with 2 copper handles. After that, when I became explorer to the National Geographic, I asked them to use a robot to try to reveal the secret of this door. We opened this hole, and we sent a camera, and we found a second door behind the first one. Why do you have this door with 2 copper handles in the pyramids? If you go to the Cairo Museum, you'll find the canopic jars of King Tut. It has 2 copper handles to pull the jars. After we finished the investigation of the south tunnel, we went to the northern one. It was bending north and south for 24 feet to avoid the Grand Gallery. But again, at 200 feet, we found the 3rd door. I really believe that Cheops burial chamber is still hidden inside the pyramid. We are using now an English radar to try to reveal the secret of the pyramid, and we hope by 2016 will be the year that the whole world will listen to the magic and the mystery of the Great Pyramid. The Sphinx. Many people think there is something is hidden underneath. Even people say that aliens built the Sphinx. We had to drill under the Sphinx because the mystery came from this stela that showed the Sphinx laying upon a pedestal. We did drill under the Sphinx because of the water table. And this machine goes down for 80 feet to the other side. We did drill 22 drill under the Sphinx. And this is a photograph of what's hidden under the Sphinx, and no aliens and nothing is hidden underneath the Sphinx. But still, are there any secret doors in the Sphinx? The answer is yes. We found one. An old man was working for me. He said, if you move a stone from the Sphinx tail, you'll find a tunnel. But he said, everyone who entered in this tunnel, there is always a curse happened to him. I told him, don't worry about the curse. We took the stone and we entered inside. We saw this 45 feet tunnel. As you see, I was smart. I did not get in first. I sent an American friend of mine before me. When President Clinton came to Egypt after he left his office, I took him to the same place. I told him the same story. He smiled, he looked at me, he said, you know, if I entered in this tunnel, I will not have a curse like the one that I had in my life. And you know what he meant by this? The tombs of the pyramid builder, a major important discovery that tells the whole world that the builders of the pyramids were not slaves. And they were Egyptians, or all the skeleton of men and women had stress on their back because they were involved in moving heavy stuff. I took a photograph of the workman of today to compare between him and the workman of yesterday. In this tomb occurs an inscription. The man is saying, if anyone will touch my tomb, he will be eaten by a crocodile, a hippo, and a lion. The wife in the other side left the same inscription, but she added more, and the scorpion and the snakes will eat you. And this to show that women take revenge more than men. But I'm talking about ancient times. I'm not talking about today. Look how archaeology is fun. When you excavate a tomb and you find a face of a statue. You take the mud brick, it's sure now, but after that, it's a surprise. 4 statues representing one person in different ages. How the workmen lived. They ate garlic, meat every day, and there was sorting salted fish, and they sleep like this. In winter, they're covered with blanket, and they go underneath the door to build the pyramid. And this is why I believe 10,000 workmen were involved in the construction of the pyramid. The Valley of the Kings. The most important thing in the Valley of the Kings that coming soon is November 4th, 1922, when Howard Carter found this tomb. And the famous word that Howard Carter asked, Lord Carnarvon asked Howard Carter, what do you see? He said, wonderful things, wonderful things. Something like this happened to me. I found the Valley of the Golden Bubbles at Bahriya Oasis. Underneath the houses, we found tombs, beautifully decorated. But the houses had no sewage system. Then we came through a major important discovery. And my assistant asked me the same question that Lord Carnarvon asked Howard Carter. And he said, what do you see? I was smelling the sewage. And I said, shit. Actually, the tomb of Tutankhamun was not really found by Howard Carter. It was found by this boy, 12 years old. His name is Hussein. And Howard Carter put this necklace on his chest. But Hussein never worked in his life. But he used to show his photograph to all the tourists until he became 80 years old like this. Hussein died, and his son is still doing the same, and he takes money from the tourists. How actually, when I did the CT scan of the tomb of Tutankhamun for the mummy, and actually we entered inside and we scanned the mummy, and I had a beautiful moment in my life meeting King Tut face to face for the first time. But actually, we did find out, this is what Howard Carter did in 1925, examining the mummy. He took the golden mask out of the mummy and he damaged the mummy completely. But actually, this is the most beautiful masterpiece of art. We took this mummy and we put it in the CT scan that the National Geographic gave it to us as a gift. After I put the mummy under the CT scan, the machine stopped. And it was the first time in my life to think there is something could be called the curse of King Tut. Because why the machine stopped? 1 hour later, the machine did work. I brought the mummy back, and we found out that this hole in the back of the head was opened in Dynasty 18 to put the liquid. He was not murdered. But we found in the left leg, there is this open hole, a clefton, that maybe he died 2 hours before his death. And we began to reconstruct the faces of King Tut, how he looked like. We had 3 teams, an American team, an Egyptian team, and a French team. When I gave the images to the American team, I did not tell them that this is King Tut. And they reconstructed the face of someone who doesn't look like King Tut at all. When I gave the images to the Egyptian team, I told them, this is King Tut. And they reconstructed the face of someone who doesn't look like King Tut at all. But the French were very smart. They worked very hard. And they did reconstruct the face of someone who looks French. All of them agreed in the shape of the nose and the shape of the head, but they can't know the color of the face. How King Tut died? We found he had a flat foot, and the blood doesn't go to his finger, and he suffered from malaria. And I believe he had 130 sticks in his tomb, standing, holding a stick, sitting, shooting wild animals, sitting, not standing. And I really believe he was riding a chariot in the desert, and he died from that idea, because he built a rest house next door to the Sphinx to hunt. And now we revealed for the first time with DNA and CT scan the family of Tutankhamun. Finally, in this temple near Alexandria called Tabuziris Magna, we have been searching for the tomb of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. This is not really actually my theory. It is the theory of this lady from the Dominican Republic, and we worked it for the last 6 years. And we found a temple of Alexander the Great, a statue for Cleopatra, and we found this shaft that I thought could have the tomb. And we went down, we did not find anything. I could not go further, more than 15 feet, and after that they brought a basket for me, and I went down for 15 feet, and the machine was stopped. And I was stuck inside the shaft for almost 2 hours. Now, in this area, we found this headless statue of a king. And we found coins of Cleopatra, has a name and a face of Cleopatra. And we found this mask. It has a cleft on the chin. My assistant said, do you think that this mask belonged to Mark Antony? I said, no, it belongs to Richard Burton. We found tombs covered with gold next to the temple, which I think all the mummies look at the temple as if something important is buried there. We hope to discover this tomb. It will be the most important discovery. You know, because I do lots of TV, and the film directors made this body double for me. But the problem between me and my body double, that his ass is bigger than my ass. We have many people to visit, like Queen Sophia, and we have Kurt Russell and Goldie and Susan, and we have Michael Bay and Megan Fox. And these 2 people, this is Greg Norman and Chris Everett. Matt Lauer from today's show called me, said, Zahi, please, they want to come to meet you, and they want to get married in front of the Sphinx. When they came, I said to Chris, the Sphinx has a curse. You will get divorced after 3 months. She said, no, I'm in love with Greg. 3 months later, she get divorced. And this is the famous visit of Mr. Obama. He stayed 1.5 hours looking at the pyramids. I took him to this tomb. He turned it to the other side of the tomb, and he saw this. He said, listen, he said, He said, I look like this. I said, Mr. President, it's true, you look like this. And we laughed, and I gave him my hat as a gift. You know, ancient Egypt and modern Egypt is in the hearts of everyone all over the world. Whatever I travel, I see the magic of Egypt. And I'm sure that this magic in the hearts of you tonight, sitting, dining inside this beautiful small temple. And I'm sure that this love inside your hearts will support us. Thank you very much.
Of heaven, support of all things. Occasion for the love of our nation. Coronation, coronation. Sing and dance for this occasion. Sing and dance for this occasion. Of love. Sing and dance for this occasion. Coronation, coronation, coronation. Look at the Pharaoh. Isn't he strong?
Now's not the time for your flirtation. It's coronation.
It's coronation. 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 Sing and dance for this occasion, for the love of our nation. Sing and dance, sing and dance, sing and dance, sing and dance. My beloved people, I'm here for you, for the young and for the old, for the rich who wear gold, for the poor I can behold, for everyone our land can hold, for the strong and for the weak, for those who can and cannot speak. I am your Pharaoh, your king, your father, and my beautiful wife will always be your mother. I promise to treat you with justice and love, and our God is watching from high above. I will take you to salvation. Coronation. He will take us to salvation. Sing and dance for this occasion, for the love of our nation. Sing and dance for this occasion. Sing and dance for this occasion. Amen. Joseph is our God. Amun, God of all. When we first met, I knew it was you.
When we first met, I knew it too.
You took my heart, you came to stay.
You changed my life, you showed me the way.
Let's write our love on the stones of time. Our souls will live to the end of time. Let's write our love on the stones of time. Our souls will live to the end of time.
You made me forget all my sorrow.
You took my hand to a better tomorrow.
I know I'm blessed because of you.
Make me complete, that's what you do.
Let's
Write our love on the stones of time. Our souls will live to the end of time. Let's write our love. When we first met, I knew it was you.
When we first met, I knew it too.
You took my heart, you came to stay.
You changed my life, you showed me the way.
Let's write our love on the stones of time. Our souls will live to the end of time.